Awesome, great. So, our next performer will be Jamie, also talking about a birth, a home birth. Come on up. Do you want it in here? Do you want to hold it? Tell me a story. Okay.
Hi, so my daughter Zoe Harper was born in December of 2011. I had just spent 12 months volunteering in West Africa and had just turned in the last paper for the first semester of my PhD, so really great timing. When we found out we were pregnant, it was a little bit of a surprise, but we started doing research and we knew we wanted to have a natural birth and a water birth. And after consuming a lot of information, realized that the chances of really successfully doing that in a hospital was really small. So we landed on a home birth, which is something that my husband was not entirely thrilled about in the beginning, but kind of came around to the idea, and now he's a really passionate supporter of that. So we had 2 midwives and a doula, and I went into labor on a Friday. I thought it was false labor, thought it was early labor. I was like, this is not real, I don't want to get excited about this. You know, whatever, I just kept going about my day, doing whatever I was doing, walking around in circles. Uncomfortable, but totally manageable. Saturday, the same thing, just really managing, really, you know, just in denial that I was actually in labor. And then by Saturday night, things started really intensifying. I had worked with my midwife throughout the pregnancy for tips to manage labor. She recommended hypnobirthing to me, and I was like, at first I was like, what is this hippie shit? This does not sound at all legitimate. And then I realized that it was just really unfortunately titled, because there was a lot of really good, information in there that I took away from the book, and it turned out to be really valuable for me. So by Saturday night, you know, I let Jason fall asleep because I was like, he can't really help me at this point. And things were really getting intense and really ratcheting up. And I really decided, like, okay, maybe I really am in labor now. And I used a lot of the hypnobirthing techniques. The biggest thing that I took away from the book was not fighting your labor, really relaxing every bit of that you possibly can, relaxing all your muscles and leaning in and riding each contraction like a wave, as my midwife called it, and that was extremely valuable to me. So all Saturday night, I tried to lay down, I couldn't, I wanted to lay down, I couldn't. Every time I laid down, I kicked in the most horrible contractions I ever had, and so I realized, again, at that moment, I'm super grateful for the home birth, because if I had been forced to labor on my back in a hospital bed, I would have died. And so I spent all Saturday night propped up in a rocking chair, just focusing and doing what I could, and then by dawn, on Sunday morning, Jason woke up and he said, I really think you're in labor, I'm gonna call the midwife. And I was like, maybe you should do that. So he calls them, starts filling up the birthing tub, I get in, you know, everything's wonderful, it's just the 2 of us, we've got candles lit, it's quiet, I'm just relaxing. I was even more relaxed at that point with just the hot water enveloping you, holding up your exhausted self. I could get into any position I needed to get into. It was just amazing. I could float. It was just wonderful. They got there, our team got there, and the midwives were really unobtrusive. They just hung back. They occasionally would check, you know, the heartbeat, everything was okay. I didn't want to know how far along I was. I didn't want to be discouraged, like, oh, you're only 3 centimeters or whatever. No, just, I don't need to know anything. Just, I'm going to let myself feel through it. And so finally, and as a side point, the midwives were like, you could have called us way earlier. And I was like, I didn't really want to bother you. I don't want to bother you. Or get you excited and have to go home and then come back. That would have been horrible. So they got there. And so then by midday, close to lunchtime on Sunday, I'm in the tub, and all of a sudden my body starts pushing on its own. And I was like, I don't think this is normal. Is this normal? I'm looking at my window. Usually when you think pushing, you're thinking whatever you saw in the last movie with this stressed out woman with her legs up and everyone's like, push, push! I could not have had the more opposite experience than that. It was doing it, my body was doing it on its own. I was not consciously pushing. And after a couple of rounds of that, I was like, okay, this is really getting intense. And at that, you know, when the midwives had arrived, by that point, I couldn't talk. I could only nod or shake my head in response. I was so focused on what I was doing, and I really surprised myself because I'm the kind of person, when I stub a toe, I scream, when I jump down, I swear, I'm loud and talkative, and I was like, I'm gonna be screaming and swearing, and this is gonna be loud. And I was really calm and really quiet and really focused, more than I ever really thought I was going to be throughout the whole process. And so when my body started pushing, I was like, okay, I was really exhausted at that point. Friday to Sunday, I was like, we're getting on here. And I was like, I can't really go through many more rounds of this. So I summoned up what was left of what strength I had. And I decided I was like, I'm pushing this baby out right now. I'm not going through another round of this. And so I summoned up what was left of my strength, and I consciously threw, extra effort, conscious effort behind my body's unconscious pushing, if that makes any sense. And I just threw everything I had behind it, and then in one very brief, very excruciating moment, I cried out for the only time that I actually ever made a sound, as my husband likes to tell, during the whole birth. And she came shooting out of me like a torpedo out of a submarine under the water. And I just reached down and I picked her up, and she was squeaky clean, and I just looked at her, and she had these big blue eyes, and she just started, wailing, and I put her on me, and I just looked down, and immediately she just started, rooting around, and I looked at my doula, and she was like, try to put her on the boob, and I was like, okay. So I put her on the boob, and she just latched on right away, and I was like, is it supposed to be this easy? Like, I don't think it's supposed to be this easy. And I looked, and she just started nursing right away, and in that moment, I felt like Superwoman. I felt like I had just climbed Mount Everest without oxygen and was just conquering the world. And when women talk about a birth high, and you read about a birth high, I didn't think that was a real thing until I actually experienced it. And it was wonderful. I was like, there's nothing I can't do in my whole life now. There's nothing I cannot do. And it was really just wonderful. And it was really interesting having people come to visit after the birth, because they're like, I'm used to being in a hospital. This is weird. We're in your house. I don't know what's going on. But I think that the number one thing I'd just like people to take away from my story is just a sense of positive strength, that when we trust our bodies and trust ourselves and trust the process, that we as women are strong and amazing and wonderful and capable, and we can do anything. We make people. We can do anything. So thank you.